Hi guys, welcome to another video tutorial with me, Clarice. In this video, we are going to be exploring painting wildflowers, sort of like this, using my Maimeri blue watercolors. Now, these are colors that I have swatched really quickly for you guys. We've got the pink, the blue, and then here's what it looks like mixed up. We've got the olive greenish color with Payne's gray and a dark green once you mix the two up. And so we're going to explore this color palette and create florals like this. Before I begin, I just want to really quickly remind you guys, if you like watercolor videos and if you like floral videos, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, as it really does help my channel grow. Okay, so here we go. Here's the supplies that I am using. Like I mentioned, I'm using my Maimeri blue watercolors. For brushes, I'm using my Princeton number 6 and Princeton Velvetouch round number 4, and the number 6 is Neptune. For my paper, I'm using my Zen Art Supplies watercolor paper. I've got water handy on the side, I've got my paper towel on the side, and we are ready to begin. So the first flower we're going to tackle are the flowers that are kind of sideways or facing upward. We can get a couple of these in, let's say, the pink, and I'm going to use my Neptune number 6 for them because it can be nice and organic in shape because this is a thicker brush. I'll leave the number 4 for the thinner, more daisy looking florals. And let's begin by mixing some color. I actually have some color mixed up on the side over here, and I'm just going to get a little bit more before we begin. So I've mixed some of that color on my color palette over here to the side. And again, the key is to hold your brush sideways, slightly upward, and I am pressing down to create loose flower petals. Dipping the tip of my brush in water, I'm going to create another one to the side and another one to the side here, and then sort of pull it down to meet at the bottom. Feel free to add a little strand like that and you're fine. Your flower is pretty much done. I'm going to do another one over here, just do a couple using this color. This time I'm really like pressing down, really having fun with my brush and allowing the colors or the shapes that come to be organic and loose. Dipping the tip of my brush in water, I'm going to get one more happening right at the bottom here. And just, again, allow the shapes to sort of just formulate without focusing too much on going over it multiple times. You can go in and dab additional color at the bottom if you want that nice dark to light effect. Adding color over color just pretty much intensifies the darkness and then the gradual seepage. All right, so there we go. We've got our one flower ready. We're moving on to the daisy type flowers. So for the flowers that look like daisies, I'm using the nice purpley mauve color that we have, maybe even adding a little bit of that pink in it. And we are also using the number 4. Now, very simply, we're going to try and leave that white space for the center, and I'm just using the tip of my brush to graze and create these tiny petals. So starting from outward all the way in, so pressing down, trailing off. You can do it from in out as well. Notice how you get different shapes when you kind of start from different areas. And that's totally fine. We're doing a very loose style of painting, so this is perfectly okay with me. And then again, I'm just taking additional color and dabbing it to the center to give it that nice dark look. And then we'll use, this one's dried up already, so it's not giving me a bloom, so I'm just going to lightly kind of pull it along. And then we're going to use the dark hue, which is the Payne's gray right there. I got a little bit mixed up here, and I'm just going to add tiny little dots to indicate the center of this flower. And I'm not touching the petals just so it doesn't seep in and give me that big wide spread that I do not need. So let's do this flower one more time. Mixing my mauve. Actually, I could have started from the center this time. I'm going to add a couple of strands here. These ones I'm just adding a couple of dots in the background to indicate background petals. And then taking a little bit of that beautiful Payne's Gray, I'm going to lightly dot it in the center. If you're unsure about, oh, I might touch some of the areas that's damp, I would suggest just waiting for it to dry off before going in and doing this, because otherwise the dark is going to seep into the purple and you're going to get a completely different result. All right, last but not least, I'm going to do florals that are kind of like this, and we'll do it in the blue. And here we go. So I'm going to start off with using the number 4 for a more potent color, and then we'll take the number 6 and dab with the excess water and have it give us a nice beautiful bloom. So I'm going to start off by creating little dabs of blue, kind of like in a cone shape like this, and then sporadic as we go downward. Then I'm taking this brush. It's got a very light version of blue, a lot of water on it, and I'm dabbing in between these areas. And what's happening is it's drawing from the color that we've laid down and it's giving us a nice bloom. You can even get a little bit of that purple if you want a nice blend of colors, and that also helps. And you could just leave it like that. I'm just going to go in real quick and just add a little bit more of the blue just in certain areas to kind of really give it that nice dark to light, and then leave it as such. Now let's try and reverse that and do one kind of coming out from here. So now I'm going lighter first, and then I'm going to go with the dark color. This is typically also a very similar technique to how I do my lavender as well. Again, notice white space is your friend. Leave the white space, you're all good. Last but not least, before I wash these brushes off, I'm going to do a little bit of a splatter with this color. So I'm taking the number 6 and I am getting some splatter here. That was the mauve. Now I'm going to flip my brushes, get some of the blue, and add some of that on here. Perfect. Now getting some green on my brush here, and we've used the greenish olive green that we get in the set along with the Payne's Gray to get that nice dark green over there. So using the number 4 because it gives me a nice fine pointed tip, I'm going to first tackle creating little lines in between our blue flowers. And it's because it's still damp, it's kind of giving me that beautiful bloom in. And then I'm going to extend and create, very lightly grazing the page to create my stem. This might take a little bit of practice. I suggest you take a sheet of paper and just lightly graze just the tip of your brush to create lines. All right, so now dipping the tip of my brush in water, I'm going to create more stems for the rest of these before we create our leaves. Depending on the variations or ratios of mixing between the green and the Payne's Gray, you might get different variations of green. And that is encouraged when you're trying to paint something loose, because the colors really do speak for the whole topic. But here we go. We've got all our stems. Now let's create a couple of leaves to go with this. So you can just sort of create extensions from the stem themselves and just lightly press down and trail off to create your leaves. I'm going to create one from the top up there, press down and trailing towards the stem so it has a place to end. I'm going to create a couple happening here. Some in between. You can have them overlapping as well. That's always nice. And you can have some of the darker ones going more to the bottom, so this way it creates a nice hierarchy of dark to light. And again, this is the 2 variations of green that come into play here. I'm going to create also a strand of grass. So grazing to create my strand, and then lightly pressing down to create a short leaf, I'll do another one here. Another one there. And we've got a nice strand of grass. Again, if you create this in a different color, that would stand out more as a separate element in comparison to everything else that we have. You could even just water it down and have it just be a very watered down version of the green, so it's lighter in color. So like this, just dabbing off the water, pressing down to create the leaf. Notice how it is a lot lighter in comparison to some of the other colors we have happening. Create one more there. And yep, that's it. So you get the idea. You can take these elements, repeat them, and place them in whatever composition you have in mind for you. And you've got yourself a pretty little bunch of wildflowers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and tag me in your work on social media. I would love to see how you guys do. And as per usual, all my supplies are listed in the description below. All right, thanks guys for watching, and we will chat soon. Bye.